Hello and welcome back to another episode of I Hate Golf. It's awesome. My name is Caleb. He's Mark. And today we're going to talk a little bit about something that we've talked about before, but it's been a while. It's a new year. All the golf companies are coming out with their new drivers, new irons, wedges, putters, all that stuff. And I just kind of wanted to get your perspective on, the turnover year to year that seems to be accelerating every single year with this is the best driver we've ever put out. This is the hottest face we've put out, and how that translates to the average golfer. Because something that you've talked about before, and I think most people understand by now, but maybe not everyone knows, is the clubs that are being played on tour, the balls that are being played on tour, it's not what you can walk into your local pro shop and buy. It's not what you can order online. It's like, sure, some players play stock equipment, but that's probably a minority compared to most of it. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that today and kind of get your take on, is there truly a difference between the 3-year-old driver and the new driver that's on Golf Digest's hot list?
The short answer is probably not so much. I've joked about it for quite a while now, is that driver they convinced you 9 months ago was the greatest thing on the face of the earth. They now have to tell you that's not so hot. Yeah. We really have the best one now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that way. And I guess I was told quite a while back, that, as long as you're within probably 5 years of the technology, you're okay, maybe even 7 or 8.
Uh-huh.
And again, if you're a 15 handicap, as long as you have a player improvement club,
yeah, it's
probably not going to change a lot.
Yeah.
Cosmetically, yes. But no, I just, again, the hot talk is always about the tour player and what they're doing, which really doesn't apply to very many other golfers, a very small percentage of golfers. So, yeah, I think that's kind of overblown. But is it exciting to get that new $600 driver? Absolutely. So, yeah.
Now, when you say that that's kind of overblown, talking about, what players on tour are using, do you mean that kind of what I was saying about how they're not using, stock drivers and stuff like that? Or do you mean it more in that, the level of golf that they're playing and, they're looking for every inch they can possibly get? Is it more that, or do you think it's the actual equipment?
Yeah, it's actually both.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like you look at the charts between the clubs that are tested. Here's the greatest, and here's one that's okay, and it's maybe 4 or 5 yards difference.
Yeah.
You can get a $250 driver that gets you within 5 or 6 yards of the 550 one.
Yeah.
You have to weigh, is it that valuable to me?
Yeah.
And it's as far as your game goes, to me, the test, especially as an instructor, those new clubs, did they change your score? Did they change your handicap?
Yeah.
Probably not. But
yeah.
Is it fun to do? Well, sure. So, if you have the money, go for it.
Yeah.
But is it really going to do that much? No. It's nice to show off to your buddies of, hey, look what I've got. I've got the latest and greatest, and you don't, that kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone that's got the new TaylorMade driver showing it off, because it's a great-looking driver.
Right.
And it's interesting what they're doing with I think the marketing. I mean, it's obvious marketing. The age of metal woods is over. It's now the carbon wood, and it's like, all right, that's a little extreme. But they made a great-looking club. They did a good job packaging it, and, people are going to want to go buy it, and they're going to be excited when they hit it. Is it really going to change their game? Maybe, but I think, especially for me personally, it's easier to go practice when you have new clubs. It's easier to want to get better when you have new clubs. It's just it's more exciting, right. But that fades away pretty fast when you have a couple bad rounds, and then you start looking online and seeing, all right, what's the next thing going to be? I need a new putter. It's just so much of it is kind of the marketing playing into the mental side of golf, which, from the company side is smart because golf is such a mental game. So if they can convince you that this is going to help you and you get that kind of adrenaline rush when you're trying it for the first time, if you're hitting it on a simulator and they can show, well, this is your spin rate now. Well, you probably didn't know what your spin rate was before. So those are just numbers on a screen. Right. But just, the golf company's ability to market to higher handicap golfers that, it's not going to change that much.
Right. Well, it's to me, it's just, and not to pick on any golf club or any company, but, I hit the Matrix driver for
Maverick. Matrix is Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. But, yeah, the Maverick driver, the whole artificial intelligence thing, it was a whole new generation.
Yeah.
And it's like I tried hitting that for 4 or 5 months when I was still playing a little bit. And it's like I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I just really didn't get it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of and companies do that. It's like I think they've all at least had one line that's done that. It's like it was going to be this unbelievable thing and it kind of flopped.
Yeah.
So they move on real quick.
Yeah.
But I think, there's no doubt
Yeah.
that marketing drives new equipment.
Yeah.
It's, okay, we've sold that line and it's fading. So let's introduce something new.
Yeah.
And let's get that bump again. So, that's just kind of the nature of the beast in golf clubs.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, especially speaking specifically about the Maverick coming out with the artificial intelligence face, it's either you move away from it and abandon it very quickly, or all of a sudden every golf company has the same exact breakthrough and they all have artificial intelligence. I can't say artificial intelligence. I really can't. AI. They all have AI faces because it's like, it seems like when I was looking around, it's like they all have some kind of AI face. It's like, what does that actually mean? It's like no one's going to look into what that actually means except for a small handful of people.
No one actually sat there and chiseled out before this a driver face.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all done by machines, and you're just kind of putting a fancy name on it, which is smart.
Well, and the other part of that is being an old guy that, we were talking about a golf ball that's coming back out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's cool because I remember when I first started playing golf about that golf ball. But it's just, as an old guy, especially the early books that I read were about Sam Snead and people like that and Byron Nelson. And you look at the equipment they used, and they were still playing championship golf courses. Maybe they were 7,000 yards instead of 7,500 yards.
Yeah.
But they were still shooting the scores that, Sam Snead shot 65s with the stuff that he had.
Yeah.
So, would you want to play with that stuff today? No, it's harder work.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So it is easier to perform with the new stuff, especially for the 12 to 20 handicapper. But has it really changed that much as far as what's happened?
Yeah.
Other than distance, between the equipment and the golf ball, to me the big thing is distance has changed.
Yeah.
Does that mean everyone's better? Obviously not.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you see that on the pro side of things, whether it's talking about extending courses or banning certain drivers or length or all that stuff. It's like the technology in golf clubs is going to continue to evolve, but the response from golf courses, at least, new courses being built and the courses that are being played on tour, that's going to evolve too, because like we've talked about before, golf kind of has a limit on what you can shoot. I mean, no one's going out there and breaking records every single week. It's like, yeah, guys are hitting it further, but scoring wise, it's all pretty relative.
Right. Nobody's shooting 45.
Yeah, exactly. It's the players getting better, the golf equipment companies getting better, but it's the courses responding, and it's, entities like the PGA Tour responding and, putting rules in place to kind of limit things. And, they haven't gone as extreme as some people thought they were going to and thought they should. But I mean, what Bryson did in the past couple of years with, putting on muscle and swing speed and hitting it further than everyone else. It's like, yeah, he was successful and he won. And I know we've talked about this before, but I mean, everyone knows it's because he was really good at putting. It's like, he's like, yeah, it helps when you can hit your driver as far as he's hitting it, and when you can, hit a 9-iron 190 yards or however far he's hitting it. But at the end of the day,
he wins, but he doesn't win every week.
Yeah, exactly. It's
or every month.
He's not dominating.
Yeah.
It's only going to improve. And we're talking at the peak less than 1% of golfers. It's like when you spread that out to the average golfer, the high handicapper, or even the just best guy at your local club, it's like it's not going to affect them the way that the companies want you to think that it's going to.
I mean, I would probably, being an instructor for ages, I would probably say that take the 12 handicap, every time he hits a tee shot, move him up 10 yards. I don't think it's going to change his score.
Yeah.
So what did you accomplish?
Yeah, exactly. And now this isn't to, totally rain on anyone's parade and say, don't go buy new clubs. It's like, if you have the money to go buy new clubs and you want to
sell them too.
Yeah, so. yeah. You're welcome to come in and buy them anytime. It's just, I think, especially this time of the year when all the golf companies coming out with their new line for the year, it's like everyone gets kind of so wrapped up in that last year's stuff becomes trash instantly. And it's just, it feels kind of gross. It's like, I know that it's marketing and all that stuff, but it's just, you don't have to rush out and buy new clubs. You can. I want new clubs right now. It's like I hit my 5-wood like crap today and it's probably going to go out of my bag soon. It's like, I'm looking for something to replace that, but you don't have to do it. It's not going to change your life. It's what I think is the valuable part of it is it makes you want to get better when you get something new. But I think the mental side that we talked about last week is learning how to want to get better without having to have something new. Just being able to kind of motivate yourself to do that, not always having to, I got a new putter, so now I'm going to go out and putt for 2 hours. It's like, you should do that anyways if you want to get better.
Well, and I think too, some of it is having a comfort level.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was playing competitively, I would probably use a driver. I'd probably keep a driver for 5 or 6 years, if not longer. And I think that used to be more common.
Yeah.
Because companies didn't come out with a new line every 9 months.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the nature of it. Yeah, you'd switch shafts or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think a lot of that has just been driven by marketing. Is that bad? No, not really. I mean, yeah, if you want to get into that, I know guys that switch clubs more often than they change clothes.
Yeah.
But then there's the guy that finds a golf club, he likes it and he stays with it. And do you really see any difference between the two? No, not really.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how they respond to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I've had my old Rife putter for how long now? 10 years. And it's like, yeah, some days I think about switching it for something else, a new shiny putter that comes out, but it's like, it's fine. I'm happy with it. Some days I'm good with it. Most days I'm not, but I don't feel the need to. And, it's kind of about finding the balance, I think, of being able to appreciate the new and be comfortable with what you have. And I'm not trying to get into this like on a deeper meaning kind of thing. I'm just trying to talk about golf clubs, but I think it does apply to a lot of things. I'm constantly, more than even golf clubs, it's like I'm looking for new camera equipment and stuff like that, and just trying to kind of find the balance of being happy with, the 9-iron I have. It's, I don't know, just something I've been thinking about, and it felt like a good time to talk about.
I have 20-year-old polo sweaters.
Yeah. You're definitely on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to that. So you wanted to talk a little bit about the tour and tours and all the tours that are going to be starting.
Well, I really haven't paid a lot of attention to it because I usually don't follow the tour that much because it's not really relative to what we do.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's not that I don't know what's going on or who's out there.
Yeah.
I do, but it's not like, ooh, I have to read everything.
It's mostly something to have on in the pro shop.
Yeah.
You check on every once in a while.
It's like I read an article the other night, the argument about, having multiple tours and how that would ruin golf. It's like, Really? That sounds like someone trying to protect a monopoly to me.
It sounds like it was sponsored by someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't see how it's, damaged any other sport. Although that was the argument, how it's ruined everything.
Yeah.
Well, has it ruined it for the player?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. It's like the tour is for the players. And I think sometimes that may have been forgotten. I mean, if someone's going to start a new tour and they're going to offer me $100 million, it's like, oh, gee, I wouldn't do that because that would ruin golf. Really? Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. I mean, trying to make that argument just seems so ridiculous because, I mean, if there was only one NBA team, they could dictate paying the players whatever they want, but there's a lot of teams. That's the whole free agent market. It's like that doesn't exist in golf now. It's just the PGA Tour. So you have multiple tours, and it's like, yeah, it's a lot different than having different teams in one league. If you're talking about having it kind of where if you play in a certain tour, you can't play at all in another, it's like that seems a little weird. But I mean, as it is right now, the PGA dictates what players are making.
Well, it's just like that European tour.
Yeah.
It's been there. It's probably more successful than it's been, and for a long time, and it's competitive. And no one's saying, "Oh, gee, that's ruining golf."
Yeah.
Because there's a European tour and players go back and forth.
Yeah.
So, what's the damage of another tour?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well,
I really don't.
I think it's going to make it better not only for the players, but I think it's going to make it better for fans. I mean, that's, at a certain point you'll get to where there's too much golf happening, but I mean, far away from that. It's like if there's more golf to watch, and it's like for the people that enjoy watching golf, that's a good thing.
Well, the fact is the large chunk of the audience basically that watches golf is watching a few limited players.
Yep.
I think kind of Tiger proved that.
Yep.
Mr. Palmer proved that. Jack Nicklaus proved that. When they're not there, it's kind of like, what's going on this week?
I mean, Spieth hasn't won in how long, or won anything great in the how long, and he still has people that if you put a camera on him and told him it's $9.99 a day to just watch him, people would pay that. They just, when people gravitate towards someone, they want to see everything they do.
Yeah. It's it's like it used to be when Tiger was playing, he could be in 12th place, but you're still watching every shot he hits on television.
Yep.
And again, what's that about? It's about marketing.
Yep.
Another tour, what's it about? Guess what? Marketing, and someone wants to make money.
Yep.
And if that works for the players, what's wrong with that?
Yep. Yeah, and I think my want in all of this basically is televised golf right now is kind of terrible. It's split between so many different streaming services,
it's not
and
kind of terrible.
ESPN
It's worse
Plus
than kind
and
of.
Peacock and all these things that don't even sound like real things. If someone can come out with a tour that's just like, here's the entire tour, here's the entire event right here, pay $20 a month, watch it without any ads or anything, that would be wonderful. That would be so nice. And if it is going to be something that's overseas, it's going to be a little weird because it's going to be on a weird, time here on the East Coast. But, if it works and someone does it well, people are going to watch it, especially if you've got some big names in there.
Well, I think that's probably the threat that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Where it would be modernized. It would be now instead of all of the carryover and catering to all the individual groups, the events, sponsors, and it's like, boom, all that's consolidated.
Yeah.
That could give someone a lot of clout.
Yeah.
So I'm
absolutely.
sure people are nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like you were talking about that article coming out that very clearly seemed like they at the very least have an agenda behind them. It's like PGA's kind of let the door open, and now people are starting to peek their head through, and they seem upset about it. And sorry, you shouldn't have left the door open. Someone's going to, try to do the things that you haven't done well, and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it fails spectacularly, but that doesn't seem very likely.
Well, what was it, 10, 15 years ago? Greg Norman first started talking about this, and he got squashed like a bug.
Yep.
And, it's amazing what money can do.
Yep. Oh, yeah, especially when it's the kind of money that Bryson DeChambeau can be offered $135 million, and he could go back and say, actually, I would like some more, please. I mean, that kind of money. Yeah. Oh, absolutely get it. Yeah. That's throw enough money at it, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of product they come out with, because at this point it seems inevitable. It seems like a year ago, pretty likely to happen, and now it's just kind of an issue of who's going to be playing, when's the first event.
And of course, one of the reasons we're really open to multiple tours is because at some point we want to introduce a club tour that we've been thinking about and working on, that I think is going to be really exciting for just the weekend warrior, who's a pretty good player. But, and I've talked about this before, when I started playing golf, I mean, it seemed like each city had their event. You could go play golf.
Yeah.
You could go play tournament golf.
Yeah.
That's gone. It's where did it go?
Yeah.
If you're not traveling on some professional tour, mini tour, that it's like you're out of luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd kind of like to try to revive that.
Yeah.
I think it could be fun.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've definitely seen a few kind of very, very small regional things like that. But I mean, here in Florence, it's like if I wanted to go play somewhere and, more than just a Sunday skins game or something like that, it's like I have no idea how to do that. There's nothing set up to really do that. It's like, yeah, you have kind of one-off tournaments here and there, and you'll have events that companies put on and stuff like that, but there's no actual like tour kind of thing.
Right.
So there's definitely I don't know if I would say need. There's definitely an opportunity for it. Yeah.
So I think getting back to the tour, I think nobody that's controlled something for that long likes to be challenged.
Oh no.
So everything is going to be used to beat off that challenge.
Yeah.
So you hear some pretty bizarre arguments.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, it's like, so we'll see where it goes, but I'd be shocked if it's not successful.
Well, and I think a lot of it kind of comes from, people are afraid of losing access. They're afraid of losing coverage. It's like, I mean, that's the biggest threat that, they have right now, is to say you can't play here. But at a certain point, someone's going to say, okay, that's fine. I'll go play in this other stuff and make $200 million. And
not only that, but my point immediately was, well, you don't have to be on the tour to qualify for the U.S. Open.
Yep.
And if you finish in the U.S. Open, you get invited to other majors. It's not completely, unless they come back and say,
unless they change that,
we're going to take our ball and you can't play
anymore. Yeah, that's going to be, that would be their only option, but that's going to be a marketing nightmare. It's going to be a PR nightmare.
Yeah, that wouldn't go over well.
No, that would take a lot of, I don't want to say guts, but that'd be a pretty bold strategy.
Yeah, because one of the arguments was, well, you wouldn't get to see Dustin Johnson against DeChambeau on a weekly basis, and it's like, wouldn't that make the 2 or 3 times a year they played even more exciting?
Yeah.
So it's like now it's kind of like, you turn it on. It's like, it's kind of like the NBA. You don't really need to watch more than the last 3 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're really a diehard.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'm not.
No.
So it doesn't fit me. So I'll watch the last couple holes to see what's going on. That's enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's kind of NBA. I mean, all of these sports leagues are doing fine. They're making tons of money, more money than they've ever made before. But, whether it's NBA watching the last 3 minutes of the quarter, or kind of waiting till February rolls around to really start paying attention. Baseball has the same problem with how long that season is and stuff. You see sports leagues kind of grow a little stale, and it's about how they respond when that happens. If they can, be raking in all this money and still have the creativity to make things more interesting, so that it's a better experience for the fans, for the players, and all that stuff.
Well, and the whole golf thing too is, I haven't really thought much about it, but as you do think about it, is golf people that show up for a golf event, it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah.
It's like you're going outside, you're walking around.
Yeah.
It's like you might be able to see a couple of people. If you really want to watch someone, you go get a spot and sit there. And it's almost like an event for you.
Yeah.
More than just the actual tournament itself.
Yeah.
Which is completely different.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I don't know, the tailgating at a football game.
Yeah.
At an Ohio State game.
Yeah.
Which is probably, for some people, the biggest part of the event.
Yeah.
As opposed to the game itself.
Yeah. It's like, what if that was the entire event? It's
Right.
like, that's what walking around a tour event's like.
And that's when it's like, I can remember it's like people talking about that when, they'd schedule someone like Rice.
Yeah.
And it's 68-5. It's like people went in for the first, half at the most.
Yeah.
Went back to the tailgate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of, golf's kind of different. Golf's different in a lot of ways, but the event itself as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here unless you got anything you wanted to add.
I have nothing to add.
It's been a good week here, and we didn't really talk about the golf course that week. That's fine. We're not going to talk about it every week. It's been a good week. The weather's been nice. It's going to be a good weekend. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for listening to another episode of I Hate Golf. It's awesome. My name's Caleb. He's Mark, and we'll see you next time.